beautiful, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tina, I'm the makeup enthusiast. In today's video I'm bringing you my finale on my Pan That palette for 2024. So I have been working on my Tarte Off the Cuff blush palette for a number of months now. So if you want to see how I have been going with this palette over the last month, then stay tuned. But before we get into the video, if you do love watching project panning content or any other beauty related content, make sure you subscribe down below. And without further ado, let's jump on into the finale. I have been working on my Tarte Off the Cuff blush palette for a number of months now. This palette contains 1 bronzer and 3 blushes. I have reached my goal on this palette, and if you've been playing along at home then you probably know what that is, but I will leave on the screen a photo of what this palette looked like last month. Now last month I had worked my way through the pink color right at the end, and I was working towards getting that completely used up. I had worked, I think, about halfway up the pan on that one, and then the bronzer, I think I had just finished repressing it, so I was working towards using up what was left. So this is what the palette looked like last month, and now this is what the palette looks like now. I'm so excited. Look at those 2 ginormous empty pans. How good do they look? So juicy. I love how this palette is looking right now. So let's go through it. Obviously the pink Franken blush that I made on the end here, I did manage to get that completely used up. Moving over to the next blush here. Now this one I have been using on and off, as I always do, and I am starting to see or notice like some changes in the pan, like around the pan. Definitely levels dropping, the imprint has like completely worn away, so I'm very happy to see some progress starting to be made on this one. Then we have the one in the middle, which is probably my favorite blush out of this whole palette. I just find it works really well with a lot of looks for me, and I have managed to expand the pan a little bit, I believe, but down the bottom here I am definitely focusing my brush down in this bottom half of the pan here, and I'm really finding that I've noticed a significant change in the pan over the last month down in this bottom section here. So I'm very happy with the progress I'm making on that one. I think this one, given the amount of progress I've made on this one, particularly this year, I think there's a very real possibility that I could potentially have this one finished next year as well. And then we move into the bright pink in this palette. Now the bright pink blush in this palette is my least favorite blush in this palette. I have, I believe, used it maybe once or twice, but I am still not a great lover of this blush in this palette. All that being said is now with this blush, and I'm going to Franken this one into maybe something that's more usable for me so I can get some usage on it and get it used up. And I'm going to utilize the 2 pans at the end here. So I'm hoping that maybe I can come up with potentially 2 different blushes. I will still keep a little bit of this hanging around, but I think I can split this one between the 3 pans, and that will definitely give me 2 new blushes to work with, and I think that might make it easier to use it up. And then I will leave a little bit left behind just in case I do find myself having looks where I want a bright pink Barbie blush, which doesn't happen. It's probably not likely to happen, so maybe eventually I will end up frankening the remainder of it. But just for now, I feel like I want to just keep a little bit on hand just in case. And last but not least is the bronzer, and as you can see, I did also manage to get the bronzer completely used up. So I'm very happy with the progress that I made on this palette this year. I think most certainly next year I want to maybe try and use up at least another 1 out of this palette, and my goal out of all my blush palettes, I think this might be my absolute oldest. So my goal is like, I want to make sure this is one of the next like couple that I'm focusing on to use up to get out of my collection, because it's getting on in age and it's probably past the point of no return. So I really want to, and also given the amount of progress that I've made on this palette, I really want to make sure that I am using it up and getting it out of my collection. So that's the plan. I don't know whether just yet, whether I'm feeling the need to completely finish this one up next year. I think just given how much time I've focused on it this year, that I might maybe want to have a rest from this palette and give some more love to some of my other face palettes in my collection. But I may feel drawn back to it for maybe like a quarter, maybe 2 quarters next year, just to see how much progress I can make on it in that time. Especially if I'm going to franken it, I might find myself really finding a great franken blush and wanting to gravitate towards that and get it used up. So this is my palette. This is the finale. I did manage to get 2 pans used up in this palette, and I think I also managed to get another couple of pans used up in the other palettes that I've used over the year. So very happy with how I've gone in my Pan That palette this year. Make sure you let me know down in the comments how you are doing on your panning as we're getting closer towards the end of the year. If you did enjoy this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe down below if you want to keep up to date on this project and any of my other project pans that I'm doing, finalizing and starting in the next couple of months. That's it for this video, beautiful. I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, beautiful.